Say hello.
Hello.
Good morning.
Good morning.
And welcome to our day.
Good morning.
Good evening.
Hi guys.
Oops.
Gonna have to put that in there because that was perfect timing.
This vlog, when we talked about periods last time, somebody in the comments was telling us and talking to us about like bladder issues and things like that, and wondered if we could do a post as well. So I told and said that we did. Well, we will. Apologies that it's been a month.
We've had a lot going on.
We've had a lot going on.
So it's here now.
Yes. I never forget. So here it is.
Yes. So, first of all, we just want to say that literally anyone can experience problems with their bladder. And sorry, I was playing with a toy and she was like, oh, I didn't know if she got herself stuck or not.
I was a bit scared that they were stuck down the back of her teeth. She was actually
yeah.
She seems okay.
She's just chilling. Anywho,
My heart was pounding.
This is going well. But yes, literally anyone can have bladder issues, whether you're like a child or like your mid-20s or whether you're like 90 years old. You can literally, at any age, any gender, you can experience it.
I know some parents get concerned as well if their child is still like wet in the bed at age 8, 9, even 6 and 7, and it happens. I think my mum, she was still wet in the bed until she was about 9. I swear it was about that age. And it's just some kids like they grow out of it a bit longer.
In terms of kids wet in the bed, there's a lot of things that can impact that from it, and it's quite similar, a lot of them, to some of the things that you can do to prevent or to at least minimise your overactive bladder issues, like things like not letting them drink much before bed, or making sure that they're calm, but also making sure that they have had enough to drink, because that's another factor. And there are more, but I think we're going to be talking about them in the rest of the video, so we should just carry on. If you, I wasn't going to say anything, but if you see me looking over there for a minute, it's because we've got a prompt sheet. I wasn't going to say anything, but because I'm really slow at reading, I didn't just want to be sat there like...
We've got some like websites and things like that wrote down that we want to say, so we want to make sure that we get them in right, so that people watching this have the most support possible.
But we weren't going to say anything, but I figured that with me like reading, I was like evidently reading, I thought I'd just point it out. But anywho,
I could have cut the gap out.
Yeah, but it's easier for you not to with it. But anyway, so some symptoms of overactive bladder or other bladder issues are the urge to pee that's really difficult to control, and that can be sudden, like literally the sudden urge, and it doesn't matter if you've got an entirely full bladder or even if you've only got a little bit in there, it can still happen. Incontinence, is there another word next to that?
No.
Okay. Pillows in the way. Incontinence, which obviously if you're watching this, you're either part of our normal family or you're here to talk about incontinence, so makes sense.
I feel like an orchestra.
And also, if you wake up more than 2 times in the night to pee.
So if you pee more than 8 times in a day, 2 times at night, that's classified as...
Did it say that on the other side?
Yeah.
No.
That's classified as an overactive bladder.
Yeah. Yeah, it was 8. Yeah.
What I wrote down and she still gets it wrong.
Because you flipped it. That's it. Told you I was slow. And another symptom is also having accidents when you laugh, you cough, you sneeze, or like during your sleep, or even just randomly during the day.
Yeah, sometimes it can just leak on out.
Exactly, you said.
Yeah.
But yeah, so for me personally, when I was between the ages of 13 and 15-ish, I was having a lot of issues, and I ended up having mind blank of what it's called.
Milk test.
Uh?
Milk test, didn't you? You had to drink a lot and then like you would pee in. They had to calculate how much.
Yeah, but it wasn't just that. I had tubes put up, and they put specific amounts of water into my bladder, and then checked how like the contractions were working, and checked how empty my bladder was. And it took a long time to get it done, but it was quite. And obviously, I was really young at this point. I was only like 15, but it helped us to know what sort of issues I do have with my bladder. So I think that it's really important that if you are struggling, you consider having things like this sort of things done, or even just going to speak to people.
Just so she can pee so many times in a day, but she's got small like wee tubes. So
they're thin. Like all of my tubes in my body are thin. So like my nasal passages are thin, my ear canals are thin, and like my wee tubes and everything, they're all really like narrow.
so she could pee, but then 5 minutes later she'd need to go back because she wouldn't either empty it properly, or because they're narrow, pee can get stuck in the tubes.
Yeah.
So she could like it either like have an accident or would need to go back to the toilet again.
Yeah, and one thing that I learned that could help with that, although I have to admit I don't always do it, and when I don't do it, I quite often regret that I didn't do it, is if you go for a wee, and then you stand up for like 30 seconds,
If
and
you
then
can stand.
yeah, and or even like if you can't, if you're able to just tilt yourself forward a little bit.
Do like a rocking motion.
Yeah, exactly.
Apparently you've got 2 parts to your bladder. You've got the bottom one, that's when you feel like you need to pee. And then they say about the standing or the rocking because there's a little lip in your bladder and pee can get stuck there. So you move it like allows it to then drop down.
Yeah. And then obviously when you sit down again, and then you'll probably find that you've actually more pee will come out. Another thing that I have is my bladder never feels empty. So that's an interesting one. We're not entirely sure why that is, whether it is because of the narrow tubes, like maybe it's my bladder isn't quite registering that it's empty because of that. We don't actually know that.
No.
But yeah, so that's my experiences. I mean, even nowadays I still wear pads and pants, not just not just because of the bleeding situations that we spoke about previously, but also because of incontinence situations.
Yeah. And then there's me. I don't pee a lot.
No, you do not.
I can sometimes, when I was in school, I would pee when I wake up and I'd pee when I go to bed. And it was because the toilets in our school were horrible. There was always kids smoking in there. there was like most of the doors were not on, and it just put me off.
Can I just put an insert? I think that if you are a teacher and a child says to you that they need to pee, I don't care what age they are or how regularly they ask you, you should let them go.
Also, teachers, well, that was one of the things I read, are not allowed to refuse you to go to the toilet.
No, because like when I was in school, particularly like during lessons, they would tell you that you weren't allowed to pee because you were supposed to do it during break times, but during break times they shut half of the building so you couldn't go in those ones to use those toilets, and in the other half, like particularly in the girls' toilet, girls would hang out there and do their makeup, and they would just be so busy because you've got a whole school using like 2 sets of toilets.
Yeah.
But definitely, please, if you're a teacher or something, if you have, like, if somebody needs to ask you permission to go to the toilet, please just let them go, because it can cause issues for them in the future.
Yeah. And unfortunately for me, I still don't pee much now. My issue for not peeing much now is because I don't walk and I'm sat down all the time, I don't always feel like I need to pee. And then suddenly I'll move like a little bit on my side or whatever, and I'll be like, shit, I should have peed about 2 hours ago. So that's not brilliant. But I've had a lot of catheters. I've been in hospital obviously lots for my lungs, and when my lungs are particularly bad, it's not just hard to synchronise trying to breathe and pee, but my body retains fluid.
And it's also the fact that sometimes when it is like that, you can't even lift your bum a little bit to get like a bedpan, let alone to get onto a commode or to get to a toilet. So it's another reason.
Yeah, so with all the catheters that I've had, it's now made my bladder more sensitive. Particularly for about a week after I've had a catheter taken out, the amount of accidents that I have is just, oh god, I've lost count. And if I'm still in the hospital, one thing that I do is I don't wear anything from my waist down. I have a sheet covering me, and we haven't got any here, but they're like incontinence sheets. If I can find a picture, I'll put it in. And we just put one of those on the bed, and if it's the case that like I have an accident or something, then I'm covered. I've got something to protect me. And then obviously when we're out and about, we've got like multiple other pads that we use at home.
Which we can show you now. First of all, we've got these ones, which are just thin little small pads that they don't come in like a packet. They come in a big packet, but
The box.
yeah, and then they're just sort of loose like this, and as you can see, they're quite thin, but for tiny little leaks, like if you know that you're not going to be doing too bad, like you, for example, if you're towards the end of having been in hospital and you know that your bladder issues are subsiding a little bit, you can get away with this, can't you?
Yeah.
And then we have these ones.
These ones have not long come out.
These ones are really good actually. I'm going to open one up so you guys can see. But this is the packet.
Sensitive bladders.
Yeah, they're always discreet ones.
They say always discreet, but you can still hear it ripping off like duct tape.
That is one thing. That is one thing that they could deal with. They could consider sorting, isn't it? Particularly, women don't like other people in the toilets hearing this, but it's kind of like if you hear it, you just sort of ignore it because it's normal, because the majority of women have used this for either periods or for incontinence, etc.
I did have a trick in school
Okay.
when I was like on my period though for this. I would literally like undo that bit silent there, and then I would either just slowly peel it like along this little bit, because you can't hear it as much.
Yeah.
And if I noticed that it was getting a little bit loud, every time I would do it, I would cough. It sounds stupid,
Genius.
but
Just make sure you sat on the toilet while you're doing that, otherwise you could have an accident.
yeah, but if you're worried about other people hearing, make some other noise, cough, or just find a way to distract the noise.
Particularly for men as well, because I mean, I'm not a man personally, but I imagine that
Hearing the pad noise.
Yeah, rustling like pad packets is probably going to be really hard for men, because most men don't have periods.
Yeah.
So I imagine that would be difficult. But yeah, so there's that. Charlie gave you some tips for that. But yeah, definitely they could consider a different way of doing it.
Always,
so
if you're
it's a bit
watching
more
this,
discreet. Yes,
do
please
something.
But these are them. We've shown you guys before with the period one. They have like little sort of elasticy bits.
Overflow
sort of
protectors.
they sort of scoop up like between your legs basically. So it's not just like a flat surface.
Kind
it's
of like a
bucket.
nappy wood,
Exactly.
which holds in obviously
Yeah.
baby stuff. It's quite supportive and
Yeah, it
secure.
is, and it's comfortable as well. And these ones, this size is the long plus, which has got a 5 absorbency, and as you can see, they're quite long, and they do hold quite a lot as well.
With a comparison to this.
Yeah.
This little one basically covers the butt flap, so that's how small
Yeah,
it really is.
and that's how big that one is, because that one, they are big.
Although we have these, like, the girl ones, you can get the exact same product, but for men. These Always ones, they have the exact same one, but in a man's packet. And the same for the other ones that we're
Yeah.
going to show.
For me, I sometimes use these.
Which, believe it or not, when Soph wears these big pants, you can't see
No,
the pad. Like, you can't. It doesn't look like you're wearing a massive nappy.
No, with these ones particularly, I think because with these ones I think they're like the perfect size. These are a size UK 16 to 22, and I wear a 22 generally in like bottom clothing. So these fit perfectly for me, and they're just like this. You can get guy ones of this as well if you wanted them. These particular ones have got patterns on them, but inside here is basically the same situation as this, but a little bit more heavy duty really. So they've got a lot more elastic, and the pads are a lot
There's more coverage.
absorbent. Yeah, and there's a lot more coverage. But yes, literally, if I want to wear a pair of leggings and I'm like bleeding, or I feel, or my bladder's not feeling good, sometimes I can tell. when
But if
this
you've got a
is good.
UTI as well, you're gonna
Yeah.
be more irritated and pee more. And
Exactly.
things.
So I'll wear these because you literally can't see them under your leggings or like your thin trousers or whatever. And the big guns. I'll show you the packet rips. Bit of a funny packet, so you can kind of see. It's these ones. Is that even remotely
Yeah.
cool? And these ones are the big ones. These ones are big on me, but they hold a lot. So I'll just wear different types of trousers with these.
With these ones, I would say if you are fully bladder incontinent and you literally have zero control of your bladder, these ones are the
Amazing.
ones that you need.
Yeah. These are plus, and they've got 6 out of 8 of the droplets. Personally, I haven't ever found pads or anything that's any higher than a 6.
No.
These are the highest absorbency. So if you know some that are more absorbent, please let us know.
We are in a very small, well, I say very small town. There's only 9,000 people in our town.
Which is small.
Yeah.
A lot of places.
We've only got one supermarket.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. But yeah, this is them. They look, I mean, they look large.
Against your head.
Yeah, but I'm a large girl, so
Yeah.
but they stretch a lot, like they're really stretchy. So these are those, and these ones don't have a pattern on them, but
They do really.
no. And these ones is exactly the same as these ones, basically, just bigger. And I think that these bits here are a little bit like there's more fabric around here to sort of like tuck in between your legs kind of thing, and the pads are a lot bigger and more heavy duty. They're like thicker and more absorbent. But definitely, like if I'm like continually bleeding, or I'm having really bad issues with my bladder, these are just a godsend because they just make me feel so much more secure.
So one of the things that you can do to help with things like this, it's more so if you've got like a leaky bladder or an overactive bladder. If you're fully incontinent and you've been diagnosed with that and diagnosed with an illness that you can't do anything about with controlling your bladder, these probably aren't going to help you. But one of the main things is like strengthening up your pelvic floor. And it's the exact same for men and women. All you got to do is just sit there and pretend you've got something between your, what's it called? Your butt cheeks, and just squeeze.
Yeah.
It's literally that easy. For women, you can buy, or you can get on NHS, a certain little gadget thing that
I've had one before.
she didn't use.
I used it a bit, but it was difficult.
Yeah.
for me.
You have to insert this one into your lady garden, and then you squeeze against that.
There are some that you have that can even send little non-painful electric currents through, which can sort of stimulate the tense reflex, so that then you can be like, oh, it's happening, and then you tense, and then that can help.
Yeah, so that's the main thing, is the pelvic floor situation, but also just be mindful of drinking, like what the level of caffeine that you drink, and sugary drinks, and high sugared and carbonated, and what's the word? What is like bread and cereal and carbohydrates? So like carbs. If you have like a high level of carbs and things like that, it will irritate
And things like
your
fruit
bladder.
juice as well. Like fruit juice are really bad.
Yeah.
Saying that, for me personally, if I'm having issues with my bladder, and I drink cranberry juice
Or tomato juice.
or tomato juice, but I don't really like tomato juice. But if I drink cranberry juice, I do find that helps me to some degree. It doesn't like completely get rid of it, but I do feel like it's a bit better. But in terms of drinking as well, it's gonna sound strange, but if you're having problems with your bladder, write down what you're drinking and just have a proper look at it, like how much fluid you're getting into your body. Because when I had all of my tests and stuff, that was one of the main things that they told me, that I was not drinking enough. And if you don't drink enough, the lining of your bladder gets irritated, which then causes you to pee more, or to at least feel like you're going to pee. And it's less likely to be happy holding more fluid in it. And I have to say, I do think that more or less I have been better lately when I've been drinking more water. So that is another thing to think of. Obviously there's limits. If you drink a huge amount, particularly if you suddenly go to drink a huge amount. Not helpful. And another thing I don't do, but they recommend you do, is to sip your drinks. Don't gulp them down, sip them.
Yeah.
Yes.
Other than the pelvic floor thing, with the machines and things like that, go to your doctor first. They'll be able to provide you with the best information of what would be best for your situation, and you might be able to get like machines or help on the NHS, so it will save you money. Obviously, if you're not in the UK, then I don't really know how it works for you guys.
I mean, just as a bit of encouragement, it was a while ago, but when I was like between 13 and 15, and I had to go and see basically a bladder physiotherapist. They are lovely, and they don't judge you like even a little bit. Even like when they do like examinations and stuff, just bear in mind that they've seen everything before, and they're there to help you, and they understand what's going on, and it's just they know what they're doing basically. And I just think that a lot of the time fear of judgment especially can really make you not want to go and get help, but that's what they're there for.
Yeah.
They've trained to do that. They've seen weirder things than what you have, so
Yeah.
just bear that in mind.
With the different types of pads, depending on where you are in the UK, some trusts like would be happy to give the pads on prescription so you don't have to pay, but not all do. Where I used to live, they had it on prescription. Down here, they don't, so it's like really, really difficult. Two websites that I found, I'll put them both in the description below, but the first one that you'll see is a Bladder and Bowel UK website, and they've got a helpline and email that you can talk to them and get advice, or they're just there to listen. If you can't get in with your doctor for an appointment, because it's difficult to get appointments, but you really need to talk to someone, then use the services that are there. And the other one is, I think it's just Bladder and Bowel. It'll be the second link in the description. You can get a universally recognised card, which I'll put a picture in here, that says just can't wait toilet card, I think it is. I only put like shorthand, I can't remember what it was. And literally, if you've got that, you can go into a pets at home, and if you suddenly need to pee, you can show them this card, and then they can take you to their staff toilet or to a toilet they have somewhere and they know about.
Yeah. We don't have one of those. I didn't know about it personally. And now that we know about it, we're gonna get one.
Yeah.
So we'll let you know how we get on with that, but it's definitely worth doing.
Yep. And the last one is, there's a thing called a radar key. I'll put another picture in here. I have one of these and I keep it on my wheelchair. Basically, these radar keys, if you're out and about and you see like public toilets and you notice that the disabled toilet is locked, these radar keys open those toilets, and you got to make sure that you lock it back up afterwards, because if these toilets get destroyed, people who are in wheelchairs or need equipment to help get on and off in the toilet, they're then stuck and can't go to the toilet.
Yeah.
But if you don't feel like you want to be in a public toilet that's got like 50 toilets in, whilst trying to sort out all your pads and things like that, you can obviously get one of these radar keys, and you can go into this one stall and lock the door behind you and know that you're just in there on your own and nobody's going to be listening. There is, however, a charge. Well, most of the UK there's a charge. There are some counties that give them out for free. I paid £5 for mine. Once you've paid it, it's yours. On the second link in the description, they said it about being £3. So I don't know if the price might have dropped or if it's literally just this area that's £3.
Yeah, obviously it depends on where you are. It might be a different price, but it's definitely worth it if you are able to stretch
Yes.
to that amount.
Indeed.
Yeah.
But I think that's kind of all we can think of. But just know that you're not alone.
Definitely.
I mean, you can easily always like put comments on the bit down below, and I pretty much, I think I replied to everybody. If not, then I will get back to you. It just depends on what's going on at the time.
If she does ever not reply to you, just comment again, because there's quite a high chance that she's just accidentally missed it.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So yeah, hope all this information can help. Go check out the websites. And thanks for coming on to us. And we'll see you tomorrow.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.